Hi everyone, this is Santillan presenting my project about number competency strategies in the kindergarten small group setting. I'd like to start out by talking about what led me to choose this particular topic. During my residency year last year, I led whole and small group instruction for math and literacy in kindergarten. If an observer were to step into the classroom where I taught at different times of the day, they would see striking differences in the environment. During literacy instruction, that observer would see a variety of materials available in the classroom. Engaging lessons using various resources. And discussions about literacy strategies. But that support was oddly skewed. If another observer were to step into the same classroom during math instruction, they would see number competency being taught in developmentally inappropriate steps. A heavy reliance on worksheets as a form of instruction. Disengaging lessons with little real-life application. And they would see me, struggling to remediate the skills of students during small group instruction. My troubles did not lie in my students' unwillingness to learn, but in my own helplessness in trying to teach what I myself had not learned or been taught. But now, being able to select a topic and create a question for a teacher action research project, I would utilize various sources to research number competency skills in early childhood and strategies to teach each skill in order to answer a question that addressed the issue I was presented with. That question was, what are the most effective strategies for teaching number competency to kindergartners? First, I needed to figure out which of those skills to focus on. I noticed that there were 4 skills that were identified in various studies as skills that, when measured, could help predict which students would need intervention. The first of those number competency skills was one-to-one correspondence. Doing one-to-one correspondence accurately means that when counting, students assign one number to a single item. The second number competency skill was oral counting fluency. And when done accurately, a student will count up, in order, and fluently. The third number competency skill was number naming fluency. When done accurately, a student will quickly and correctly identify a number by its name. The fourth number competency skill was magnitude comparison, and this skill is shown in 2 ways. The first is shown by comparing numbers and identifying which number represents a larger quantity and which one represents a smaller quantity. The second way is shown by comparing the magnitude of items by identifying the larger and smaller group of items. After consulting more studies, I was able to find 3 strategies that address the 4 skills. I spent 3 days teaching and practicing each strategy, working with a small group of 4 students that met twice a week. The first of those strategies I called multiple representations. Throughout the 3 sessions, we explored numbers and the different ways in which they could be represented. This strategy integrated the one-to-one correspondence, oral counting fluency, and number naming fluency skills. For the second strategy, we focused on subitizing. Subitizing is the ability to see a small amount of objects and know the quantity without counting. We practiced this for the 3 sessions until the students increased their accuracy. This strategy integrated the oral counting fluency, number naming fluency, and magnitude comparison skills. For the third strategy, we did math roleplay, which integrated all 4 number competency skills into a scenario that had some real-life application. This was definitely a student favorite. We pretended that we were in a restaurant. All of us had different roles. I was the waitress, 2 of the students were the customers, and the other 2 students were the chefs. The customers had a certain amount of money they could spend. They identified their number and told me what it was. They had to access their number naming fluency skills to do this. Then, I told the chefs to put that many items on their customer's plate. They had to access their number naming fluency skills to do this. Upon receiving their food, the customers had to make sure that they had the right amount on their plates. Using one-to-one correspondence and oral counting fluency skills, they would check their order. If they had the correct amount, they could start eating their food. If they did not, I took the food back to the kitchen so that the chef could fix it. After all this was complete, I returned to the kitchen and asked the student chefs to compare the 2 different amounts of food. They determined which customer ate the most, or which customer had the biggest number, and which customer ate the least, or which customer had the smallest number, by accessing their magnitude comparison skills. In order to determine if the strategies were effective, I administered an assessment after each strategy to test each student on the 4 number competency skills. To test for one-to-one correspondence, students had to count items. To test for oral counting fluency, students had to count out loud. To test for number naming fluency, students had to identify numbers. To test for magnitude comparison, students had to compare different numbers and different quantities. So were the strategies that I used effective? Was there one strategy that was more effective than the others? By comparing the data from the assessment administered before students participated in the strategies and the final assessment, all 4 students' number competency skills improved overall. But if I had to rate the strategies on effectiveness, the data illustrates that math role play showed the most positive change on students' number competency skills. Multiple representations would come next, and then subitizing. In kindergarten, students learn foundational concepts about mathematics. In order to master those concepts, students first need to master certain skills. The acquisition of number competency skills is crucial for students in the younger grades. Their performance on those skills can determine how successful they are later in their mathematical education. Based on the results from this study, it is important to continue the research to determine which other strategies can help students be successful in acquiring number competency skills. What can be the long-term effects of the strategy sessions? And what can happen if students participate for a whole year? This, I hope, is only the start of a topic that I can continue to research, but I wouldn't have been able to do it without the work from these amazing researchers and their informative studies.